Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Women's Summit. Today we have the amazing Lisa Vanderkwaak with us. Isn't that a fun name, you guys? Kwak. It makes me smile to say it. I love it. So welcome, Lisa. Welcome to the Women's Summit. This is our very first Women's Summit, and it's all about women business owners helping other women's business owners to deal with any challenges or questions or concerns or things that come up with respect to customers. So anything customer related is what we'll talk about today. But first, I would love it if you could, let us know a little bit about what you do, why you do it, how you got involved in that, and then we'll dive into the questions about customers and talking about that. So welcome.
Sure, yeah. So thank you so much, Sharon, for this opportunity. So I am a certified executive speaking coach, public speaking coach, and I help women entrepreneurs, authors, coaches take what they know, their expertise or their story, and turn it into profitable talks that create extra streams of income for them. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not really a fan of trading my time for money for long. So it helps to really expand the revenue streams. And so that's what I do. It all comes down to communication, whether online or offline. How did I get into that? Well, my journey started, I was a speech language pathologist. I have a master's degree in speech therapy. That's where I started out, began doing accent reduction coaching for foreigners, immigrants who came to me and wanted to kind of neutralize their accent because they were being held back from promotions or prejudiced against. And that kind of evolved over the years, went into leadership coaching. I'm also a certified life coach. But over the years, it just kind of evolved. I started doing more speaking. And the truth is, Sharon, I'll tell you this right off the bat, I am the least likely person to actually be coaching people in public speaking, because when I was in university, I was terrified of public speaking. Even in a small group discussion, I was just terrified. And what I discovered along the way really became pivotal for me in my career is that I discovered that public speaking is really not so much about how much talent we are or whether or not we're an introvert or extrovert. It's really about whether or not we're coachable, because over 90% of what makes up effective communication is actually skill-based. And so this kind of set me on a journey as people started coming to me as I began to grow in my speaking capacity through coaches that I sought out, and lots of courses that I took through those programs. I began to really have a burden for women speakers, primarily because there was a lack, and there still is a lack, because a lot of event organizers who book speakers for influential stages still have a hard time finding women speakers who actually have certain skill sets. And the truth is, these skill sets are all learnable. So that kind of launched me even further to narrow my focus on actually training women and not just anybody. So
I love that. I absolutely love that. And here's something that I don't know if people notice, but I've been noticing it lately, that you said it's 90% skill set and 90% structure or things that you can learn and pick up. And absolutely. I think so often we fall into the trap of thinking that, I have to be born with this, or I have to have a natural affinity or talent for this. But actually some of the best speakers that I know are total introverts, which to me is kind of counterintuitive, because you think, you have to be extroverted to be a speaker. But they're like, it's like they turn on a switch and they put into play all of the skills that they've learned, and they're just incredibly magical on stage. And that goes for men and women. But I totally agree with you. It seems like, and that's part of why this Women's Summit is, there's so much out there and so many opportunities and so many resources for men to hone their skills, but a lot of them need to be specific for women, because we are different. We are different than men are, and we're better, but I don't want to say that out loud.
We're different.
But we're totally different, and the way we approach things and the way we need to learn skill sets and apply those skill sets is different than men as a whole. At least that's been what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. And together we make up a blend if we are walking in respect and honor of each other's differences. And I think that's really what it comes down to is is not being better than, but we're just different, and being able to appreciate the fact that, you know what, there's people that women, there's demographics that we can reach that a man may not be able to reach. And just like, you know, there's people in your world that you reach that I can't reach, and vice versa, right? And being able to really embrace the uniqueness that we carry.
Absolutely. So let's ask then, how do you find customers? Where do you do? What's your favorite way to find customers to bring into your business?
Sure. Well, great question. A number of years ago, I delved into the online world. I used to do a lot of public speaking live events, and then just found myself, you know, with my kids being little, limited a lot of my travel time. So definitely speaking is the number one way that I attract clients. And whether it's online or offline. Now, as I go to networking events, I've committed to a certain number of groups and particular groups that I go to that where my ideal clients or my ideal customers hang out, and learning how to communicate what I do, even, you know, the ones that where you get an opportunity every week to do an elevator pitch or an infomercial, whatever you want to call it. There's really that's really a prime opportunity most people have, and they don't realize it, that how you communicate what you do and what you offer will either attract people to you or actually distract people away from you. So I find that every time I go out and engage with people, I attract clients and customers. And, you know, they don't always become my customers at that time, but there's always interest. And so being visible, who you are, how you show up is really, really important.
So what would you say, this is going to be a weird one, but what if you were giving a woman one piece of advice, a woman business owner, what do you think is the most important thing that she do first in order to, and I guess I would say it sounds like speaking is a really good way to bring people and attract people to you, and having the confidence to go out to different places, but just not places, but even online. So do you help coach people like with online presentations as well? So for example, Facebook Lives or YouTube and things like that?
Yes, absolutely. And you know, you said something there about confidence, and really a lot of times, especially if you're just starting out in business. I mean, one of my clients, for example, she was very competent. She was a general manager of a huge mall in the United States and for many years, and was very competent in that arena, would speak, do presentations, but then she decided to start her own business and found herself even having to do presentations, found herself really feeling lacking the confidence and competency, because now she had to promote her own business, her own services. So sometimes women might find themselves in that place where they may be competent in one area and confident, but now lack because they're in a whole different arena. They've stepped out of a comfort zone into something else. So even having the confidence, sometimes people don't even have the confidence to speak in front of a small group. So one of the best ways that I find that I work with my clients in helping them even to boost their confidence, well, there's two things. One is in their presence, how they show up. So even their posture, all those amazing, what can happen when you begin to pay attention to how you show up, because it actually releases endorphins into your system and makes you feel more confident when you're standing up straight or sitting straight. The other thing is in preparation. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when you take the time to really get clear about who it is you're trying to reach, who is your ideal customer, what do they need? What is it that you offer? What solutions you offer? Getting clear about some of those things, that actually builds confidence in you. So preparation is absolutely key in before you even, say, for example, go out and choose a networking event or an opportunity where you have to present on your business. Really getting clear on who is the ideal person that you're trying to reach, and what is their pain point or their problem, and what's the solution that you offer, and why are you the best person for them in that regard. So that might seem I'm sure a lot of your people that you're going to be interviewing may talk about that, but even from a speaking point of view in a networking event, preparation really helps to boost the confidence.
That's very, very helpful. I think that's true of just about anything. I know it was really easy to be confident when I had a huge team of corporate departments standing behind me, and I knew that I had the support, everything I needed. But then when I struck out on my own, I definitely can relate to experiencing that, where I still knew I was competent, but you just don't have the confidence because you don't have that network of support holding you up necessarily. So that makes a lot of sense. And preparation, there's nothing that replaces preparation. Even if it's just mental preparation of getting psyched up and knowing what, like you said, what's your purpose for going to this networking event? Who are you looking for? Who can you serve? And when you know you're serving people and helping them, it doesn't feel like selling. And
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, but I, as a woman, and maybe it's not a woman thing, but I really struggle and have struggled for a long time about pushing my stuff or feeling like I'm selling or being salesy. And I think I probably go too far away from offering anything a lot of the time because I don't want to be seen as pushy or salesy. But if I look at it as, hey, I've got the solution to your problem and let me offer it to you, I think that feels so different than if I'm trying to sell somebody something.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's kind of flipping the switch on what it is that we're doing. And the other thing about that is the fact is, even by just standing still in front of people or, in a conversation, we're actually selling. We're selling people on whether or not they we're likable, we're trustworthy, we're credible. And that's why I mentioned the whole aspect of posture and presence, because just those are things that we actually can take control over and increase the credibility that we project. There's been studies done by researchers and scientists looking at certain things that people do that actually, because every one of us, whether we like it or not, we're being judged. We judge people. It's like an unconscious thing going on in our brain by what we see all the time. How people dress, how people carry themselves, and all those things. Again, we don't have to be dressed to the nines, but if we show up in such a way that we are taking care of ourselves and we do have a degree of posture that we're projecting, it actually increases our credibility so much more, even we're standing still and not opening our mouth. And so it attracts people to even think, oh, that person looks like someone I'd like to get to know. And posture of all the things that we do, like whether it be our clothing or whatever it might be, hair, all that kind of stuff, our posture actually comes out as one of the most important elements in raising our credibility in front of people.
That's fascinating. But as I'm thinking about it, as you're talking about it, I'm like, okay, that's so true, because our posture shows what kind of energy we're bringing to a situation. So if I'm all slumped over and looking down, people know that I don't want to be there and that I'm not comfortable and I'm not confident. And I think you're right that just is a dead giveaway in our body language, how we're feeling about a certain situation. So and people are attracted to people that are confident and happy to be where they are and have good positive energy. They are.
And the funny thing is, sorry, I was going to say, the funny thing is when we actually intentionally do that, like train ourselves to have good posture, it actually releases something in our brain that makes us actually feel more confident.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been talking about brain chemicals a lot lately too. I must have to research or study that, because it's about the third time I've heard something about releasing chemicals in our brain to make us feel better too. So I'm gonna have to research some of that and learn about endorphins and oxytocin and dopamine and all that stuff, because it keeps coming up. And when something keeps coming up, it means I'm supposed to pay attention to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about how people would get involved with you and what kind of things you would help them do to with their posture and their confidence and speaking. And so It all sounds like you're helping people to better present themselves so that they attract the right people to them.
And also communicating. So one is in the body, because I call it the silent language, our body. We don't realize that we're projecting, we're communicating silently. And so really getting in touch with what we are communicating silently so that it matches our words, but then also being able to learn how to communicate effectively with our words. And the things that I teach my clients learn are actually things that help me. I used to have a a franchise, a storefront, a retail as well. And the same principles applied is that the same things that I teach my clients now, whether you have a service-based business or retail, help me go from a 0 to multiple 6 figures by implementing these things through my networking, through my communication, as I'm meeting with potential clients. So I firmly believe in them, that no matter what industry you're in, if you invest in your communication skills, looking at how you're showing up and just making those tweaks, then you will see a huge increase. In fact, Warren Buffett, you know who Warren Buffett is, I'm sure, he said that one of the best investments he ever made in his life was in improving his communication skills. He even went so far to say that if you wanted to increase your net worth by 50%, he said you need to learn how to communicate more effectively. So that's just one of many, many people who've found success in that. So if people want to find out more about me, on my website, there is a free download of a best-selling ebook, and it's actually called Preparing to Speak. But in there, I talk about 8 things you need to prepare. And so this is for even if you're going to be going to see a potential client, a customer. And you're free to download that. It's a really, really valuable resource and will help build confidence. And so my website is lisavanderkwaak.com, LisaVanderkwaa, 2 A's, K.com. And I'm sure you'll have a link for that as well.
I absolutely positively will, because I'm going to go check that out, because I know I need help with my posture. I know I need help with my communication. I know I need help presenting myself better. And the pajamas, maybe they do have to go, but they're not. You're not going to go anytime soon, because that's why I work at home.
Depends on who you're reaching, though, Sharon.
Exactly. I want to help people who get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I think we forget, and we all know that communication is important. And I always say that the real key to success in creating what you want in your life is through personal development and you becoming the leader of whatever it is you're trying to create. So that's communication skills, that's speaking, that's presenting, that's sharing your ideas, that's, doing all the things that you need to do to create the business that you want. And it involves mostly, and I say this because I've learned that whenever there's a challenge or a situation or an obstacle in my business, if I really dig down to the root cause of it, the root cause of it is always me. It's always
so
me
true.
blocking something or not seeing something that I need to see that needs to be done, or not communicating what needs to be done to other people effectively. But it's so interesting that every time there's been something like that, it's like, okay, what am I, and now I just ask myself, okay, what am I doing or not seeing that I need to see to move this forward? Because I'm always the block. And that's why I think now it's almost always about developing personally and making sure that your skill set is attracting the people that you want, whether it's employees or partners or, joint venture people that you can do projects with, or customers. So the skills are applicable to pretty much everything.
They are. And, clarity goes along with that. And when I was talking about preparation, because one of my mentors said to me a long time ago, he said this, and you may have heard it, but a confused mind says no, and a clear mind says go. So if we're not clear on all of those things, who we're reaching, what we're offering, the solutions, then the people we're speaking to, whether it be just in a conversation, are not going to be clear. Mm-hmm. And so there's going to be like brakes put on them to even move forward to want to do business with you. So it's really important that we have clarity.
Absolutely. I think one of the most common problems and challenges I see with the people that I work with are that they don't know who they want to serve. They've got this great idea for a product or service, or they've been doing it a long time, and they're like, okay, I want to leave corporate America. I'm going to be an accountant or whatever. But they're not really clear on who they're going to serve as an accountant. And so they just fall into the trap of wanting to serve everybody or anyone that comes their way. And that is like the fastest way to really get frustrated and hate your business, because before you know it, you've got a whole group of people and your business might be thriving and growing, but you don't like working with them. And I don't think there's a worse feeling than having a whole business that you just want to shut down because you don't love your customers. But I think a lot more often than not, we fall into that trap thinking we need to just serve everybody. And if we're serving everybody, we're serving nobody. So That's what you keep saying about focus and clarity is really, really important that we do that. And I know there's this huge resistance to doing that. Everybody, it seems like we're afraid of, if we say, I'm only going to serve female coaches or female authors and coaches, well, then I'm leaving everybody else out. Well, you're not really, because most of your clients will be female coaches and authors and whatever, but you also will get ancillary people that are attracted to you along the way. And they might not be a coach or an author, but they might be a business owner, but they have the same characteristics of people that you love to work with. Yes. If you're clear on the type people that you want to work with, not necessarily just like their job title or their profession. But it seems like, again, counterintuitive. Oh, I need to narrow my focus to actually get all the business I need and want. But I've definitely learned that in my businesses going online, because if you're trying to talk to everybody, you're not talking to anybody.
So true. Yeah.
Through offline, unless you're, Coca-Cola or a brand like that just wants everybody on the planet to drink Coca-Cola. You can't, and you have like millions of dollars for promotion and advertising. I don't think you can take that tact. I think there's too much noise, and you just get lost in the shuffle of 10,000 or how many ever accountants there are on the planet. I'm sure there's a lot, or coaches, or I don't know how many there are of any one thing, but it just seems like there's plenty of choices for everyone on the planet. So you have to find your way to stand out.
It's so true. It's having that abundance mindset, right? There's plenty to go around, and you're right. It's kind of counterintuitive, but the narrower the niche, the more effective we will be, and actually probably the more successful we'll be too.
Absolutely. And the narrower the niche, the higher the rates you can charge. That's what I find fascinating. And that also seems kind of counterintuitive. If I narrow down, I'm going to make more money. If I try to serve everybody, and that's, I think, because there's a direct correlation between the price that you can charge for things if you're serving everybody and if everybody can use it, versus if it's specialized information. I know when I was doing engineering work, they paid me a lot of money to do engineering work. But when I moved into more general management topics and areas, the jobs just didn't pay that much. I mean, they paid a lot, but they didn't pay as much as, the specialized knowledge that you had to have for certain fields and certain industries. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So true.
It is. So what else do I want to know about you? What do you think has been your biggest challenge in and this is not necessarily customer related if you have one, in building your own business and dealing with and finding customers and serving customers? Have you had one area that you found that you've had to do more personal growth in than others, or has it all just come very naturally and easily for you?
Oh, no, it didn't, definitely. As I said, I started out very, very scared of public speaking. So that was definitely a struggle along the years that I had to overcome and learn skills. But one of the biggest things, and I really learned this a lot as I was doing more, even my retail when I had a franchise, but sales, and I think this is huge for women, is not wanting to sound salesy, not wanting to make people feel icky or uncomfortable when we do the ask. Or most, and I was the same. I was guilty of this. I would just either very, very softly or neglect the ask and then wonder why I wasn't making the sales. And I really had to learn how to do that. That was authentic, at the same time, ask for the sale. And whether I'm speaking or actually in front of a client, making a proposal or providing a product, a solution that they are looking for, is really that call to action. Okay, how would you like to pay? Or which one is a better fit for you? So really, with confidence, learning how to do that in a way that was authentic for me, as well as was going to serve my clients well. So that was the biggest thing, but now I love it. I absolutely love it. I used to be so afraid of sales, and now I love it, because I realize, as I said earlier, every day we're selling ourselves. Just walking around in a grocery store, we're selling ourselves. And if we look at it that way, it's just being approachable, likable, being true to yourself, and making that mindset shift of providing solutions rather than, pushing things onto people that they don't really need. So I really had to change my mindset around selling.
I think that's huge for all of us women. I did hundreds of Facebook Live videos, and I'm still guilty of forgetting to ever do a call to action. And I guess a call to action can be different. How I'm kind of backing my way into getting comfortable with that, and I don't know what the right strategy is. I could use some strategies for that. Getting comfortable with the call to action. I think, like you said, it's a mindset thing. But I'll do things like I invite people to do like little things, and then after several little things, then I'll invite them to do a bigger thing. And I look at it more as an invitation than, hey, I'm just offering this. If it's for you, you'll know. If it's not, then just let it go right over your head. It's kind of like negative talk online and social media. You know what? If you don't want to engage in political discussions or religious discussions, don't say anything on those posts. Just scroll right by them.
Exactly.
It took me a while to learn that, but boy, it makes life a lot easier. And I think the same thing is true with sales. Sales is really hard for a lot of us, and not just women either. I think that it's across the board. People don't want to come off as salesy. Well, some people do and don't care, but those aren't the people we want to do business with, I don't think.
No, but men seem to have an easier time with it. But what you said, I love what you said, because that's the same thing for me. As I see it as an invitation. And you know, there are some studies that show, and again, going back to women speakers, one of the biggest skills that a lot of event planners have a hard time finding women who carry these skills as speakers is giving a call to action. And it doesn't need to be a hard sell, just like you said, inviting your audience to find out more about you or to take advantage of something that you're offering, a free thing. A lot of women even clam up when it's time to do that. And so having that clear, strong call to action is a huge struggle for many women speakers or many women presenting about their business. And so it is something that I believe has to really shift so that it becomes, like you said, inviting them to say, hey, you know what, this may not be for you, but if it is, I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to find out more about how I can better serve you, or if you're interested in knowing more about what I do, here's something you can download on my website or whatever it might be, right? So it's just really inviting people who would like to keep it connected to you, and then let it go from there.
I love that. Okay, I'm trying to think how to word this. Do you do a lot of online things on social media? Do you have a favorite platform that you use on social media for interacting with people? Or do you just have a website that you deliver your content through? And I'm assuming you do some things online and not all in person, but maybe that's the question. Do you deliver online or in person, or both, or a combination, or events, or?
Yeah, so I've in the last few years I've switched a lot to online, but I'm building up my YouTube channel. But I do Facebook Lives. I have a place where I push out every week speaking tips for women, so short little videos answering questions about public speaking and just doing little tips for women. As well as on my website, I have a membership. One of my programs is a membership base where people can get weekly video tips and training on a monthly basis. So, but in terms of social media, I have, and I'm actually just going to be moving it more into the Instagram world too, in terms of the Instagram TV. Haven't really delved into that as much, but really Facebook Live and YouTube, because of course video is here to stay and we cannot get away from it. So yeah, that's where I've been focused on.
I probably need a speaking Facebook Live coach, but I've been just trial by fire and just doing them. So it's been interesting. I made myself last year, I said, okay, I'm scared to death of doing Facebook Lives. So I got this little book that I had. I joined a network marketing. I'm going to tell you a story quick. I joined a network marketing company, and a friend of mine and I, and network marketing, it's a great industry, but there's pros and cons, just like every other industry. And we were in this network marketing company. We were both scared, and they were teaching us, call all your friends and family, foist your stuff on them, which, let's be honest, our friends and family are not business owners or business people, the majority of them. And I come from a really entrepreneurial family. So if my family's not, and they're not going to be interested, I feel sorry for regular people that don't have an entrepreneurial family. So I got us this book called Do One Thing a Day That Scares You.
Ah, cool.
And we did it. Well, we did it for like less than 2 weeks, right? And then we fell off because we weren't very good accountability partners. And my daughter, at the beginning of last year, saw it on a bookshelf in my house, and she's like, Mom, this looks like a cool book. So I took that as my invitation to figure out a way to get over my fear of doing Facebook Live. So every day for the year, I said, okay, I'm going to do a page of this every day for the year, whether it's a saying or a quiz or an activity. And I'm just going to go on Facebook Live and I'll talk about it. So it gave me something to talk about and kind of work my way into it. But like I said, no calls to action ever.
And you know what? And really, you shouldn't be doing call to action. If you're doing Facebook Live a lot, you shouldn't be doing it like you shouldn't be doing like a hard sell every day, but because people want to get to know you as well, right? So you want to build up likability and credibility. But I think that's fantastic. Challenge yourself to do it. I mean, the beautiful thing is you can always erase it.
Here's my rule though about Facebook Lives and what gets me over the fear of it. Because I'll tell you, if I don't edit or do anything, and I don't get to do them over unless there's a massive catastrophe. I think I've only ever done maybe 1 or 2 over because like I didn't hit record or something. And so, or I hit the wrong button and it didn't record. But for the most part, what I do is what has to go up there. And one thing good about Facebook Live is it's so short-lived.
Yes.
Not that many people are going to see it. So it can't be that bad. And I've got some bad videos up there, but people have to really go look for them. I mean, when I was in the beginning, I was scared to do them. So I would challenge myself to do scary things. Like I'd wear weird hats or weird. I did my very first Facebook Live was with a puppet, actually. Beaver puppet.
Wow.
A beaver puppet to remind me. This beaver puppet, and I named it Betsy after my sister, which is really mean, but I had to find things like that to make me not afraid of doing them, which, they're just silly props and things, but they did help.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much no calls to action on Facebook Live. Facebook Lives are just about me being weird me. So,
but Facebook Live, actually, interesting thing about them is that they actually they reach more people than uploaded video on Facebook just because of the algorithms.
Yeah.
And as well as sometimes we say, okay, some people say, well, there's not too many people who are on there when I go live. But actually the replay is where you get a lot of traction and engagement. And so don't underestimate that. And so you want to acknowledge the people who are watching afterwards as well.
I should do that. I'm not, Facebook isn't really my platform. Because it's such an easy tool to use, I adore Facebook Live because it's so easy and so flexible, but I repurpose all my content. And I've found just in the last few months that the people that I'm reaching are on LinkedIn. So I'll post a Facebook Live, the same exact video on my Facebook Live and on my Facebook page and on my Facebook profile, and I'll get like 12 people watching it. And that exact same video will get like 300 to 400 to 800 views on LinkedIn. So that's why I was asking about social media, because I think that it's depending on our industry, depending on our business, we kind of have to hunt around and figure out where our people are. Where are the people that we're trying to reach? Because I spent a lot of time on Facebook and sharing videos on Facebook and weird other platforms, even YouTube. I think I've got like 42 subscribers on YouTube. YouTube, I just don't know how to use it, so it's not my platform. And I totally don't get Instagram. I mean, I kind of get it. It's a graphic one, but I don't think it's, again, where my audience is. I don't know yet. So we'll see.
That's really, and that's really important to kind of really check it out, right? And observe it.
Got to figure it out and find them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. I'm really excited to go find out more about speaking and posture and things, because I think it's really exciting. And I agree with you 100% about communication and your ability to communicate your message and find the people so that they can hear what you have to offer. If they can't even hear you, you can't even make an offer to them, and you can't help them solve a problem if they don't even notice you.
Exactly.
And so that's really exciting.
Yeah. Because the buying process is a lot longer now. People have to have a lot more touch points with you before they actually purchase. Whether you own a retail outlet or storefront, people will still go online and look at certain things first before they actually go into a storefront, for example. But when you're online, there's a lot more options out there. So if you can give them more touch points, become really familiar, helping them to see that you're likable and credible. And that's why, things like that, where you're more visible on whatever platform your people are hanging out on, is really important.
I think that's really true. I noticed even for myself and my kids, it's amazing. And I guess people of all ages are probably getting this way, but if you're thinking about making any decision or any purchase, the first thing my kids do is they pull out their phone and they start looking for reviews. They start looking for options. And so if we think we can hide behind just our little things anymore, we're not going to be able to. Do you find, or do you think that it's important for offline businesses and brick and mortar businesses to be involved in and honing in on these skills as well and finding a way to get a presence online so that they can be found?
Absolutely. You will not stay in business long if you do not have an online presence of some sort. It's just, again, that credibility piece, if nothing else. But we need to adapt the way we do business because of the way, the online world has taken off. So yeah, anybody who has a storefront, even restaurants for that matter, where people go in and sit down, if they don't have an online presence, it actually can hinder their business growth. And just like you said, people go on and review and all those things. They want to find out, what is this place? And so, yeah, absolutely. You can't get away from it.
And I think you'll find, I think people find local businesses, but that they're not, like you said, they're not going to get the traction that they could get or their success that they need if they don't have a way to have people find them and to get attention. So that's really interesting. Well, I would like to ask if you have one last piece of advice with respect to customers for us before we let you go.
I think that we've talked about it before, but the whole thing of it's really not so much, and even in public speaking, a lot of times we get focused on what we have to give, but it's really what our client or customer is taking away from that interaction. Are we leaving them with the sense of, I want to stay connected with this person. I want to know more about them. It's what they're taking away. And I just think being able to add value to people at every interaction we have is really important. And if it's small or big, it doesn't really matter. But that's why it's so important that we really shift our focus that whatever industry we're in, we're really there to serve a demographic and help them move forward or solve a problem or relieve a pain. And so just if anybody is struggling with that, just to be able to kind of look inside and say, okay, where do I need to shift my mindset so that I can better serve my clients at a higher level?
Oh, I love that. And it is all about service. And I never realized that people will do so much more to solve a problem or to alleviate a pain than they ever will to gain a pleasure or something about things. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm that way too. If I've got a problem, it takes all my attention and I'll do anything and everything to solve that problem and get back to normal. But if I can just go do something fun and exciting, well, I may or may not do that. I'm not that motivated to find a solution or to take action. So that's really, really powerful to know that if you know of problems and ways that you can serve people, that's how you're going to reach them faster. And you have to communicate to them that you actually can help them and solve their problems. Have the confidence to do that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for being with us today. I totally appreciate it. I am going to let you go and put you in the funnel and on the website with your link so that everybody can get more information about you. And awesome. I'm going to go check that out too. I'm going to have a really busy weekend, I think, checking out everybody.
Thank you so much, Sharon. A pleasure to connect with you.
Same with you. You have an awesome day and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.